Welcome to the Automation Zone. We'll be looking at the topic which identifiers are to be used in which scenarios. When I say identifiers, I mean these 8 identifiers, and we have learned how to use them. Now we'll learn why and where to use them. Okay. This is a common question I have got from many users, including Zoya Khan, who has requested me to create a video on the same. Please show me how to use tag name, XPath and CSS with an example. So I hope this video will help you as well as all the others who have similar questions. So let's take a common website which is accessible by most of y'all. Let's take Amazon. Okay, and let's look at our first part, which is name and ID. Now remember everybody, developers usually 99% of the time, okay, they would prefer name and ID to be constant for each element. So you would not say you not usually have two elements having the same ID or two elements having the same name. So these two, okay, are basically unique. So we can use name and ID to identify single elements. Okay, now let's look at this. In order to prove this, let me press F12. Let me come to the element section, press Ctrl F to get the search window, and let me find an element here, okay, which has an ID. So any element which has ID. So this is an XPath to find any element which has a tag ID. So let's look at a few. Okay, this is a big one. Okay, so okay, this is a good one right here. So next, however, here I can see this part being highlighted. Okay, what I'll do is this. I will delete this and let me spy this. So if a developer has assigned an ID for this particular element, which is navlink auto account list, then I can be pretty sure that the developer would have not assigned this to a different element. Let's check this. So let me find any element which has an ID by the name navlink account list, and I have found one element. So you can go ahead and check any website of your choice. Okay, it need not be Amazon, it can be anything. And if you find an element having an ID or an element having a name, it's usually unique. So step 1, if you have an element with a name and ID, just go for it, don't think about it. Okay, unless they contain numbers, etc., then maybe the development has not been done proper or it's being generated dynamically. So if it does not have numbers, okay, just go for it. Use the name or the ID to identify the element. Now link text and partial link text. Okay, sometimes many times developers have links, and these links, they do not have any name or they do not have any ID, but what links have is, you know, the visible name, right? So this visible name usually comprises of the text. So we can identify links. When I say link, it needs to have the anchor tag. A stands for anchor. So rule number 1, it should have the tag A. Okay, so if you have a link with the tag A, and if the link looks good, for example here the link is bestsellers, so I know that there will not be any other link with the name bestsellers mostly. So I can go and use the identifier link text or partial link text depending on the situation, and I can identify the element. Usually this is also done for a single element. Okay, now let me expand this. That's out of the way. Let's look at we look at tag name later. Let's go with the class name. When is class name used? Why is class name used? Class names are used by developers in order to group similar elements together. For example, now I've got all of these links here. and if you look at it, they all behave in the same manner. If I hover each link, they all have this square box, they all have the same font. So I, as a developer, I'm not going to go and write a function for this element and the same elements. I'm going to give all the elements one common property called as a class. So if I have a question, let me please find out the total number of buttons. Okay, if I can find the class of one element, I can be sure that this class is shared by all the other elements or all the other buttons here. In that way, I can find total number of buttons, find the count, and we are done. So use a class in order to find total number of similar elements. Okay, so use class name to find similar elements. Again, this is not a hard and fast rule. Maybe it might not have a class, but usually they do. So if I spy on bestsellers, if I see it has a class called nav A. Okay, and if I were to search all elements, so all elements does not matter which has the class called nav A, I'll find 12 elements, and if I click on them, you can see mobiles, pantry is being displayed right here. Okay, new releases, etc. So there are 12 buttons, 1 2 3, there are 12 buttons available there. Okay, so this is a way to find out similar elements. The same things can be also found for these images maybe, or I've got a see more, so I can be sure that all of this see more or these kinds of links might also have the similar class if it has a class. So I have a class called link normal see through something or the other, translucent line. If I were to do the same thing here, I would have 17 elements, and as you can see, is iterating to all of those elements. So similar items are grouped by classes, and that is when you have to use your identifier class name. Okay, tag name. Tag name is used to find all elements. Okay, when I say all elements, I mean all anchors, all text boxes, or all input boxes, etc. So if I spy on something and this has the tag anchor, I can just go ahead and type /A. It gives you 218 elements. So that's when I use tag name. Tag names are usually never used. Okay, they can be used for something which is a very less common tag, like if I have frames. So usually a particular web page will have only one frame, so stuff like that. But otherwise, you would usually not see tag name being used. Okay, now CSS and XPath is something up to and debate. Okay, so this is something where you can program and apply conditions. For example, now here it is pretty straightforward. If I have a name which is unique, I'll go for it. If I have an ID which is unique, I'll go for it. If I have a link with a text, I'll go for it. But sometimes you don't have such kind of elements. Okay, in this case, you would have to find an element, and within the element I have a different element, and there are 6 elements within it. I want to click on the first element, stuff like that. You have to build not a program, you can say a logic. So when logic comes into play, okay, and you do not have the above parameters unique, you would go for XPath or you would go for CSS. It's a debate which one is good or which one is faster. You can go and have a look at it. Each time CSS becomes faster than XPath or XPath becomes faster than CSS, it's a personal choice. Okay, as far as I have seen, most of the people using the XPath logic compared to CSS, but it is always good to know a bit of both. Okay, you can just go ahead and search online what is XPath. You can refer to the tutorials for XPath to see what XPath is. I can create one of CSS for you in a different tutorial which I'm going to create for Selenium version 4. In that I'll create one for you, but for now you can go ahead and search online. But again, it is something which depends on you. It cannot be debated. If you like XPath, go for XPath. If you like CSS, go for CSS. Just take care of one thing. Make sure that your entire team, or if you're working in a particular company, if maximum people in the company know XPath, you go for XPath, because projects always migrate from one team to another, team members always change, and you cannot expect people to learn a new technology when they already know something that already works. Okay, so I hope this answers all of your questions. If you have any more, to comment below. If it's something simple, I'll answer there. If it's something complex, I'll create a video for you. Thank you.